Well, the Real Madrid right back, Dani Carvajal, spoke to the media on Monday ahead of the game. He's been sidelined since October 2024 because of a knee injury. He was speaking about his potential new role with Trent Alexander-Arnold having come in. He said, we're seeing a lot of changes with Xabi Alonso, like Tchouaméni playing between the centre-backs. I've got no problem playing wherever Xabi wants me to play, even if it's in goal. Dean Ashton, I wouldn't have thought Dani Carvajal would be the best in goal. He's not the tallest, but as a right-back, it's been absolutely sensational for Real Madrid down the years.
I think he'd be an aggressive goalkeeper. I know that. But no, he has been wonderful, and I actually think this is such a great opportunity for Trent Alexander-Arnold to learn from one of the best that there's been in this position, and a born winner, a born competitor, and that edge that we all look at constantly and get frustrated when we watch him because we want him on our side because he's so frustrating against your team in the way that he plays, but he's still got plenty to offer and plenty of quality, so it wouldn't be surprising really to see him maybe fit into the right-sided of the back three, or even a midfield role. I think he's good enough to do that, but he clearly feels he's got a lot to offer still, Carvajal, and I hope he offers his experience to Alexander-Arnold.
Well, you are listening to the FIFA Club World Cup live on Talksport 2, presented by DAZN. Watch every game of the FIFA Club World Cup live and for free on DAZN. Sign up at DAZN.com. The two sets of players shaking hands ahead of this one. A round of 16 clash, a fascinating one. And just a reminder of the two lineups for you ahead of kick-off. Real Madrid with Courtois in goal, Howson, Rudiger and Tchouaméni the back three. Fran Garcia down the left, Trent Alexander-Arnold down the right, Bellingham, Valverde and Gula in midfield, Vinicius Jr. and Gonzalo Garcia up front. Juventus with Di Gregorio in goal, Kalulu, Rugani and Kelly the back three, Costa, Thuram, Locatelli and Cambiaso across the midfield, and it's Conceição and Yildiz supporting Kolo Muani in attack. Those three between them have got 7 goals in the Club World Cup so far this tournament. And Dean Ashton, they are potentially dangerous, and Real Madrid have to contain them.
Yes, they're very dangerous. I think it's a nice combination that they've got, all very different in the way that they play and the way that they attack, and will probably be given a bit of license, I think, to go and find the spaces that Real Madrid maybe will leave behind when they look to keep the ball and progress up the pitch. And with those new positions and new players like Dean Howson, they'll want to try and test them.
Referee for this one is the experienced Champions League referee, Szymon Marciniak from Poland. And we are all set for a fascinating clash, and the winners will take on either Dortmund or the Mexican side Monterrey. What that means is if Real Madrid go through and Borussia Dortmund go through, it's Bellingham against Bellingham in the quarterfinals. What a mouth-watering prospect that is. Borussia Dortmund very happy indeed with the way Joe Bellingham has started life with them. That'd be some clash, wouldn't it, Dean?
Oh, it would be magnificent. Not quite sure how great it would be for the parents.
Yeah, there's an awkward choice. I think they'd be best staying out of that one. They've been so impressive, actually, their parents, haven't they, in the way they've steered them, the way they've advised them. And they've raised not just two incredible footballers, but two very mature young men. So all set then in Miami at the Hard Rock Stadium. There has been a fair bit of rain in the air. There's a 50% chance of thunder. Whether we'll see any lightning remains to be seen. Who can strike early in this one? Real Madrid in the classic iconic whites. Juventus in their change strip, a darkish blue. They'll play from right to left as we look at it in this first half. Los Merengues, Real Madrid, all in white, attacking the goal away to the right, and we're underway in this round of 16 clash It is European royalty. Real Madrid or Juventus will make it through to the quarterfinals of the Club World Cup. We had a seismic shock in the early hours of the morning as Manchester City were dumped out by Al Hilal. And is this tournament starting to open up for either Real Madrid or Juventus? Kevin Hatchard alongside the former Premier League and England striker Dean Ashton. And Dean, this is a fascinating clash in the making.
Oh, it's tasty, that's for sure, because we know Juventus have got the firepower to hurt Real Madrid, but with all their stars, they'll be able to keep the ball. This new system, Tchouaméni already we've seen in the centre of that three-man defence. When they've got the ball, he'll go into midfield and then hopefully allow the space for us to see the best of Alexander-Arnold.
Dean Howson, who was signed from Bournemouth just a few weeks ago, was slotted in like he's been playing for Real Madrid for the last 10 years. A fancy that he could well play for them for the next decade and for Spain as well. Juventus having their first touch of the ball after Real Madrid hogged possession in the opening 70 seconds or so, and the ball is given away really cheaply. And Juventus did that a lot against Manchester City. They cannot afford to do it in this game because they will be punished. Here is Yildiz though, the number 10 for Juventus. He's found Colomouani. His first chance to run at them. It breaks his way. Back for Yildiz. He got it all wrong. Tried to sweep it goalwards left-footed and he dragged it horribly. And Real Madrid survived, but that was a promising position for the Turkish international Kenan Yildiz.
Yeah, it was a piercing run, wasn't it? From Colomouani down that left-hand side. He got a little bit lucky as he tried to jink between two defenders. It came off the defender and back into his path. I thought, is he going to strike? No, he then played it to Yildiz, and you're right, the angle of his body was all wrong. It was facing towards the corner flag, hence why it ended up there. It really needed him to let it come across onto that right foot.
First run for Vinicius Junior, and good cover in the end by Daniele Rugani, who's been brought into the Juventus lineup. He's back after a loan spell at Ajax last season, and he's replaced Nicolo Savona, who was injured in the game against Manchester City. That was a bit of a sobering defeat for Juventus, 5-2 against City, having thrashed Al Ain 5-0 in their opener and swept aside Wydad Casablanca 4-1. But technically Juventus have lasted longer in the tournament than Manchester City. Well, of course, that's scheduling more than anything they've done. There is space here for Arda Güler, the Turkish international. What a promising young player he is. Signed from Fenerbahce. Only 20. Scored against Pachuca in the group stage. A little 1-2 with Vinicius Junior, and the right foot shot is deflected and comfortable for Di Gregorio, but Vinicius Junior already looking dangerous.
Yeah, it was a really sharp 1-2. Just popped it in and got it back. And you've got to be careful as a goalkeeper. He's so deceptive. He's got such a powerful strike on him, Vinicius Junior, as he went for it for distance there.
Forward by Valverde, plays a little 1-2. He tried to charge into the area. Kalulu came across to slow him down and did a good job for Juventus there. And then Alberto Costa just bangs the ball upfield off a Real Madrid player, and the ball spins out of play. But Valverde, an early sign of what he can do, bursting from midfield.
Oh, he's such a powerful runner. It's interesting, actually. It's Arda Güler that is playing deeper, more as a quarterback, really, in that position. And Valverde and Bellingham are the players playing just ahead. But I'm sure that'll rotate anyway.
Wonder if he sees him in that Granit Xhaka role in the long term, because Xhaka was known maybe in the Premier League with Arsenal at times as being quite all action. What Xabi Alonso used him for at Bayer Leverkusen was setting the tempo and getting the team moving. Here come Real Madrid with Trent Alexander-Arnold. Tried an early curling ball into the penalty area, but Juventus able to snaffle that. And here's Yildiz under pressure, surrounded by 4 Real Madrid players on the press there. That's a hallmark of Xabi Alonso football. We saw that time and time again with Bayer Leverkusen. Real Madrid's new coach, Xabi Alonso, who made history in German football, led Bayer Leverkusen to the country's first ever unbeaten league and cup double. Even Bayern Munich hadn't managed it before. It was a stellar season, but also saw them reached the final of the Europa League a couple of seasons ago. Couldn't quite match it in the season just gone. Finished second to Bayern Munich. Ended up losing in the cup semi-finals to a third-tier team. But in general, Xabi Alonso worked wonders in Germany.
He did, and it was the manner in which he had the team playing as well. All action, both ends.
And they've done it again, winning the ball back quickly. Gula trying to release Vinicius Junior down the inside left channel, but the ball was just slightly overhit, and Di Gregorio, all in red, the Juventus goalkeeper, able to come out and patch it. Di Gregorio, who got his big move to Juventus after excelling for Monza. And had a bit of a hit and miss season for Juventus, but then they did in general. They only qualified for the Champions League on the final day of the Serie A season. Long ball down the inside right channel by Juventus is easily cleared by Real Madrid, and they're on the move again with Trent Alexander-Arnold, just wearing Trent on the back of his shirt. Can't quite get there at the moment. He's going to be Trent Alexander-Arnold for a little while longer at least. And here is Tchouaméni, who is a defensive midfielder by trade, but he's played a lot of centre-back, and that really does explain why he's dropping in between the other centre-backs. Lovely work from Vinicius Junior, plays in Alexander-Arnold in the penalty area. He's slowed down though by a good challenge from Cambiaso, the left wing back for Juventus, and now they're on the break. Nice back heel from Kolomuani to find Yildiz, and he plays in Kolomuani, who's suddenly away. Kolomuani! He's lifted it over the crossbar. Massive chance for the French international, only the keeper to beat, and he put far too much on it, and Juventus have seen a huge opportunity slide by.
Well, he may smile, but it's a big chance he's just missed. It was a lovely flick inside to Yildiz. He returned the favour with a great ball in behind. 1v1 with Courtois, who just looks absolutely ginormous when he comes out at you. But he thought he did the right thing in just trying to scoop it up and over Courtois and just put too much on it. I think the presence of Rudiger right at his back as well might have just hindered him slightly, but it's a big, big chance for Juventus.
Of course, Kolomuani had one of the most famous misses of a chance in modern football. He had a chance to win the World Cup final. He was stymied by a brilliant save, to be fair, from Emi Martinez, the Aston Villa and Argentina goalkeeper. That could have won the World Cup final. He says he still thinks about that. Says he will always be the man who missed the chance to win the World Cup final. It will always stick in his throat. But he is a top-class striker. He's shown that. Here is Jude Bellingham. Inside left channel for Real Madrid. 8 minutes gone on Talksport 2. Real Madrid nil, Juventus nil. And now Rudiger just to the right of the centre circle, the former Chelsea defender. Oh, nice little surge there by Valverde, who goes for the shot. Right-footed, and it whistles beyond the goal. Di Gregorio hurled himself to his right to cover the post, and it's a goal kick to Juventus.
Yeah, a little look through the window at Valverde's strengths there. Powerful running from midfield, bursting away, and then a terrific strike, just 3 or 4 yards wide, but we know he's got the capabilities to score from that sort of range.
Ball runs loose for Kolomuani on halfway, who is on loan from PSG. Rondel Kolomuani came to prominence in Germany with Eintracht Frankfurt, a brilliant season for them, and then joined PSG for massive money. And his surplus to requirements there, Luis Enrique, not enamoured by what he has to offer. And the crowd in Miami, as you can hear, pretty pro-Real Madrid. Every time Juventus have any kind of long spell of possession, as they do now, they are being roundly booed. Here is Kefren Turam, the French midfielder for Juventus, his 51st appearance for the Turin Giants in this one. 10th minute on Talksport 2, live Club World Cup commentary, and it is Real Madrid nil, Juventus nil.
And I think we've seen this quite a bit in the competition, where there will be a burst from one side that look to press early on, and then they just retreat and almost have a break. I think whether that's physically, it's the heat, it's where the managers want to set up, but Real Madrid just having a little period where they're going to sit in their own half.
It's mid-afternoon in Miami. Temperature not as hot as it has been in some of the games, but still 30 degrees Celsius. Here's Yildiz scampering forward, right foot shot. Goalkeeper was beaten, but the shot deflected just wide of the far post. Kenan Yildiz, who already has 3 goals in the tournament, nearly made it 4.
Yeah, the awareness early on. Ball into him on the back foot away from Gula, who just doesn't look naturally defensively in that position, and then striking a little deflection off Tchouaméni. Courtois doesn't move, he just goes down to one knee and stares at the top corner, praying it doesn't go in, and it was just wide.
It's a really promising start by Juventus. They are making the best chances so far, and they have this corner which the Portuguese international Conceição takes. Curls it to the far post. It's headed up but not really away by Garcia. Gonzalo Garcia. There are 2 Garcias in the Real Madrid team, and now they're on the move with Vinicius Junior, who takes it up just shy of halfway. He was looking for the run of Bellingham initially, and it just skipped away from him, and it goes all the way through to Di Gregorio. But just a little sign of what Real Madrid can do on the counter. 0-0.
Yeah, actually, it's a good opportunity. If that ball is better from Vinicius Junior, and I think it was, like you said, Bellingham, and possibly Fran Garcia actually, that had made a burst as well from the initial corner.
Yeah, there were 2 options on that far side, weren't there? It's a break where Juventus got caught up field. See that so often at corners. Teams that end up overcommitting. Here's Yildiz on the left-hand side, Turkish international, born in Germany. And he is a rising star. His name actually means star. 3 goals already. Scored 2 against Wydad. He got a goal against Al Ain. He was unlucky not to get a hat-trick actually against Wydad, but his first goal was chalked off as an own goal. And we've got a problem here for Pierre Kalulu, the Juventus defender, who scored a horrible own goal against Manchester City, and he's gone down holding his leg, Dean.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure yet exactly what the injury is, but I think he just signalled and went down. Whether it is just the hamstring or the thigh, just a muscle injury, I think, is what he's indicating to the physio.
13th minute. Can't imagine Xabi Alonso will be too happy about what he's seen so far. He's always a bundle of energy. He always looks very nervous indeed, like he might have left the gas on at home. He's got that energy as a coach, always moving, always talking, always thinking about the next tactical tweak. And it's been Juventus who've looked more dangerous.
Yeah, and especially just through the middle of his team. That midfield area I talked about, whether it's Gula who's going to sit, and if he does, then, you know, the best players soon figure that out, and Yildiz has taken all of just over 10 minutes to realise, well, as soon as he drops in that position, Gula, I'm going to make sure I can try and get it into my feet, because I've got the beating of him. And he did. He got it on the half turn, and he was away from him, and suddenly you're at the Real Madrid defence. So I think something that Xabi Alonso will have already spoken to them about.
Just seen on monitors actually a replay of why Kalulu got the injury. Went up for a header with Garcia in the previous set piece, and as he landed he just jarred the leg. So he's just testing it out, just stretching to make sure that he can rejoin the action. It looks as though he's going to be able to do that. And we are back underway, and Real Madrid are in possession on halfway, but that's a loose touch by Rudiger. Yildiz nips in there. He's been terrific so far, and he finds Colomboani raiding down the left-hand side into the penalty area, onto his right foot, but swept away by Dean Howson, who was perfectly positioned. He's only 20, Dean Howson, so they tell us. Doesn't play like a 20-year-old, does he?
No, and he looks calm already, hasn't he, for Real Madrid. But Juventus have started really well, especially down this side with Yildiz and Colomboani, who you can tell has got all the attributes, but just a little untidy in his work at the moment.
Fran Garcia across to Tchouaméni in the centre circle for Real Madrid, approaching the 15-minute mark. Live Club World Cup commentary on Talksport 2 in the round of 16. Real Madrid 0, Juventus 0. Howson up from centre-back, midway inside the Juventus half, and he just slides it out to Vinicius Junior, who comes in off that left touch line. Now it's with Tchouaméni, imposing figure just in front of the centre circle. Rudiger now, rolling it into the path of the young striker, Gonzalo Garcia, a youth product for Real Madrid, who's made a big impact so far in the US this summer. Here's Howson. Juventus with everybody behind the ball at the moment. Trent Alexander-Arnold has to retreat, come in field. He finds Rudiger. It's all a bit slow, this, from Real Madrid at the moment, but here's Gula in between the lines, and he finds Vinicius Junior. And Juventus just trying to keep their shape, and that's exactly what they did, and Kalulu able to win it. And then Di Gregorio goes long, looking for Colomwani, and that's an excellent header from Tchouaméni. He has all of those defensive instincts, but he's pretty good on the ball as well.
Yeah, it's walking pace, isn't it, really, for Real Madrid in possession, and then they're just waiting for that burst all of a sudden, whether it is from Vinicius Junior as he tries a flick there.
And trying to find Gonzalo Garcia. Garcia has been very much a talking point in this tournament. It's emerged that his grandfather was a bullfighter, and his grandfather's cousin was the great US actress Rita Hayworth. So there you go. A rich tapestry in the background of Gonzalo Garcia. And his cross, or the cross towards him rather, floats over his head and is picked up here by Cambiaso. And Juventus have really played their way into this. And back to his goalkeeper Di Gregorio, who's had almost nothing to do so far. And Di Gregorio's attempted ball to yield his to sprint and keep it in, which he did. But now Yildiz surrounded by white shirts. Bellingham goes crunching into a challenge. And the ball eventually runs out for a Juventus throw.
But as always, when you play Real Madrid, it feels like already Juventus should have an advantage, because they're not going to be this poor for the rest of the game, Real Madrid. They've been pretty average defensively so far, and Juventus have opened them up a couple of times but not taken advantage.
It's like that Hollywood monster. You think you've beaten it, and then suddenly it comes back at the end of the film. Here is Thuram for Juventus, midway inside his own half. Kefren Thuram, whose brother Marcus has been with Inter at the Club World Cup. And they went out recently, beaten by Fluminense, who were going to play Al Hilal in the quarters. Long ball towards Colomwani, and again very well dealt with by Tchouaméni. Now Gula helps it on to Vinicius Junior. He comes over halfway, turning on the turbos. Vinicius Junior looking for Gonzalo Garcia. It'll come back out to Vinicius Junior here, hugging the left touchline. He's got Alberto Costa for company. Jinx in field, but Costa sticks with him and then wins the free kick. And that was really good defending from Costa. And he's got a big psychological challenge in this one, because Jeremy Doku absolutely shredded him in that final group game.
Yeah, and I just think maybe that extra bit of protection there, Kalulu behind him, he could be aggressive with Vinicius Junior and step in to intercept. But how dynamic is he, Vinicius Junior? You think not a lot's happening, and then all of a sudden, just this turbo energy that he seems to have and close control, he just opens things up on his own. Terrific talent.
He's only 24, Vinicius Junior. This is his 320th game for Real Madrid. He's got over 100 goals. He scored in 2 Champions League finals. He has talked recently about wanting to stay with Real Madrid for the rest of his career. He has been linked with a $1 billion move to Saudi Arabia. But he says, I've always said this is the club of my life. I'm very happy with the coach. I want to make history with this team.
Yeah, I think he's more than a talent.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
I think he's realised that talent already.
It's a nice problem to have. You either take the $1 billion or you keep Vinicius Junior. It works out either way for Real Madrid, but all of the signs pointing towards him signing a contract extension after this tournament. Here is Lloyd Kelly on loan from Newcastle. Also had a spell with Bournemouth, of course, Lloyd Kelly. Smash forward here by Locatelli. It's a lovely ball out to the right for Juventus. It's played infield for Conceição, the pocket rocket, diminutive Portuguese international. Had a big part in Portugal winning the Nations League recently, and he tried to get the better of Real Madrid on the edge of the area, but he gives away a free kick. It's a bit of a mismatch, it's fair to say, height-wise, between Housen and Conceição. He's towering above Conceição, but there's an element of the cartoon character Scrappy Doo for those of a certain vintage. Remember that about Conceição?
Yeah, it's not lost on me, that.
Thought I might be playing to captive audience there.
And he doesn't want to get involved, does he, Conceição there? He didn't really want to have to. He wants to get into those little positions where he can feed the forward line.
21st minute, Real Madrid 0, Juventus 0. Round of 16, live on Talksport 2. Winners will play either Borussia Dortmund or Sergio Ramos's Monterrey. So we could have some really intriguing matchups in that one. Sergio Ramos coming up against Real Madrid, maybe. Bellingham versus Bellingham in the quarterfinals. Here's Trent Alexander-Arnold in space on the right-hand side. Igor Tudor, the Juventus coach, just waving his team across. And they shuffle towards this near side as we look at it. Trent Alexander-Arnold with a teasing ball into the box and claimed by Di Gregorio. And it is 0-0 with 21 minutes on the watch. Xabi Alonso described it as all or nothing tonight. Said we are playing a giant of European football. This will be a demanding game. We'll need to show quality and concentration. And Juventus have shown already they're being much more competitive than they were against Manchester City. Got caught between two ideas, I think, against City. They changed some of the team, but not all. You can't really do that against City, and they ended up being on the wrong end of an absolute hiding.
But they looked so ragged as well, which I'm just not used to seeing. But they've been really bright at the start of this game. They've been the better side, for sure. They've already had that big chance for Kolo Muani, 1v1. He should have put away.
Igor Tudor was pretty honest about that 5-2 defeat to Man City. He said it was a bad game that left a bad feeling. Yildiz bites off more than he can chew there, and Gula can bring it away. Nice little ball outside of the boot, looking for Vinicius Junior. Very, very well judged by Kalulu, who tested out those muscles there that were causing him problems earlier. Trapped him stride for stride there.
I think he's actually got the beating of Vinicius Junior pace-wise. I think if he's against either of the other two, he's winning that race and he's through.
He was a title winner with Milan, Pierre Kalulu. He's a player of some pedigree. Here's Thuram finding Cambiaso, left corner of the penalty area. Into the box now. Cuts it back in the header. He's straight at the goalkeeper from Conceição. They are racking up the chances here, Juventus.
And they're targeting the Real Madrid right-hand side as Alexander-Arnold drifts. Rudiger doesn't want to push up the way he should do. Lovely work by Cambiaso. It was an overlapping run that he used well, but it's a really clever cross. He didn't just feed it in. He really picked out Conceição for the header, and it was just straight at Courtois. It needed to be guided either side.
Are Juventus going to be made to rue these missed opportunities? Here is Rudiger, who's not long back from a knee injury. Actually, he had surgery to repair a damaged meniscus. Here's Housen now working it out to the left-hand side for Valverde. Forward it goes to Fran Garcia. Back now to Tchouaméni, across to Rudiger. Rudiger finding Trent Alexander-Arnold. This is all midway inside the Juventus half. In Miami, no goals yet, 24 minutes in to this round of 16 game at the Club World Cup, live on Talksport 2. Now it's Housen, very calm on the ball. He just guns that out to the far side of Fran Garcia, who did start at Real Madrid, then left the club and came back. Long-range drive here from Tchouaméni, took a deflection, and that's going to be a corner for Real Madrid.
Yeah, and another player that we know can strike from distance with quality. He's got his head up, stinging strike that just took a little nick off Rojani, and then Gregorio, I think in the end, just patted it behind to make sure.
The Juventus and Italy legend Giorgio Chiellini is in the stadium for this one. A defensive behemoth he was for club and country. Arda Güler and Trent Alexander-Arnold standing over this corner. It's on the far side as we look at it, the Real Madrid left. And here it comes from Gula, lots of pace on that, headed away by Thuram. Gorgeous first touch by Vinicius Junior, then Valverde phones Housen. Housen's cross to the far post is over here. That'll curl towards Conceição down by the corner flag. He gets away from first player but then loses out, and Bellingham will fire it across. And Conceição had his pocket picked there. He's claiming that he was fouled and injured. In the end, it's a corner to Real Madrid. That could have been a lot worse.
I mean, it was brave for a start from Conceição in terms of trying to dribble his way out of the defence, but it was a gorgeous little nutmeg on Alexander-Arnold over on that side, who I wasn't sure why he went over to stand for the corner when Gula ended up taking it. He's done the same again. When he's a right wing-back, it seems strange to go across.
Taking it quickly to Vinicius Junior with the shot, and it's a raking drive, but well wide of Di Gregorio's right-hand post, and it goes behind for the goal kick. You are listening to the FIFA Club World Cup live on Talksport 2, presented by DAZN. Watch every game of the FIFA Club World Cup live and for free on DAZN. Sign up at dazn.com.
He was just rushed a fraction, Vinicius Junior, as it came to the edge of the area, and three dark navy Juventus shirts came charging out towards him. A couple of quick steps, but dragged it just wide.
Lots of stars in for this one. Wesley Sneijder's in. Justin Caramber's in.
You know you're a star when the name is there right behind your seat.
Do you not get that usually, Dean? Where's yours? Here's Yildiz. And it goes to Cambiaso. And his low cross came off Tchouaméni rather awkwardly, and the ball loops behind for a corner kick to Juventus.
Yeah, just looked to smash that really low. Yildiz across, and you're right, it was awkward from Tchouaméni. His feet weren't ready for it. Managed to get something to scoop it up and over, but again, it's down that Juventus left-hand side that they're getting some joy.
And now Kenan Yildiz wearing that famous number 10. The shirt of Alessandro Del Piero once upon a time. Takes the corner, and Courtois comes and claims that really confidently and comfortably, and now they're on the move with Housen, of all people, leading the charge down the left-hand side, and he got that all wrong. He tried to switch it to the right-hand side and got too much on it, and it's a throw.
I think he just wanted to get rid of it. I'm not sure he wanted to be driving away on the counter-attack there, Dean Housen, and tried to play the elaborate ball that didn't come off.
It was an opportunity for Real Madrid, but this has been Juventus' game so far. They're a team that only lost 4 games in Serie A last season, but remarkably racked up 16 draws. They only scored 1 goal fewer than the eventual champions Napoli. They have the same defensive record as the runners-up Inter, but they just dropped too many points under Thiago Motta, who was the big hope for them coaching-wise, and he was replaced a few weeks from the end of the season by Igor Tudor, who is a former Juventus player and a former Juventus assistant coach, and he managed to get them into the Champions League and earned the job on a permanent basis as a result. Ball played forward towards Vinicius Junior here, inside left channel for Real Madrid in the Juventus half, and now Tchouaméni with that languid stride of his out to Valverde, who's anything but languid. Out to Trent Alexander-Arnold on the right, comes in field, plays it left-footed to Rudiger. Rudiger curls the ball into the Juventus penalty area, volleyed away with no problems at all by Kalulu. And then Gula took a real chance there against Colomouani. If he lost that, the Frenchman was clean through, but Gula backed himself and kept possession. Oohs and ahs from the crowd in Miami. Ball played over the top by Gula down the right-hand side. Here is Valverde into Bellingham, and the shot saved brilliantly by Di Gregorio. It looked initially as though the ball might spin towards goal, but Di Gregorio earned his slice of fortune there with a brilliant save.
Lovely lifted pass from Gula over the top for Valverde. Super clever cross. Didn't just play it in, just passed it into the near post where Bellingham was there, and it got stuck right under his feet. He couldn't get the power or the purchase on the strike and just hit it in towards Di Gregorio, who was able to keep it out.
Good spell for Real Madrid. Here is Vinicius Junior, but a bit of a miscommunication between him and Fran Garcia. on that left-hand side, but now Fran Garcia able to toe-end it away from Juventus, and Vinicius is fouled there. That's going to be a free kick for Real Madrid on that far side, the left. Half an hour gone. Real Madrid nil, Juventus nil.
Well, it's the first real sign, isn't it, from Real Madrid there? And it came from Gula, who started that off with a great pass. And Bellingham, in the end, just not able to scoop that in. His feet just weren't in the right pattern to then scoop that over the goalkeeper, who was really sharp out towards his feet. But Arda Güler, I just think he's such a creative talent. It would seem strange to see him sit there as a quarterback, really.
Players moving to the sideline for a cooling break. You are listening to the FIFA Club World Cup live on Talksport 2, presented by DAZN. Sign up now at dazn.com to watch every game live and for free. Igor Tudor coming across to his players just to run through a few things. He said the real tournament begins now for his team. He said you have to bear in mind Manchester City have spent a lot of money and have better players than us. I think that's probably something you could apply to Real Madrid as well, but actually Juventus are really competing well here, aren't they?
I've been really impressed, with their defensive shape, but then that ability to counter-attack in numbers, and the quality. Kenan Yildiz in particular has been excellent on the half turn down this left-hand side.
It's one of those situations, Dean, isn't it, where you've got to put one of these chances away, because then if you could do that and you bring Real Madrid out, you can hit them on the counter-attack.
Yeah, it's already got that feel of a what-if at the moment for Juventus. Of course, you keep trying to play that way. Xabi Alonso will have a couple of minutes here just to get a few instructions to his players with the cooling break.
Just going back to that save that Di Gregorio made from Bellingham, it was a double touch from the Italian goalkeeper. I think the first one wouldn't necessarily have done the trick, but the ball came off his boot, looped up and hit him on the chest, didn't it? And because it hit him on the chest, that allowed the defenders to clear, but he spread himself so very well.
Well, it's that sharpness, isn't it? It's that awareness as a goalkeeper, knowing when the serious danger's there and really being sharp off your line to get in front of a player and make him have to finish past you properly. Bellingham wasn't able to do it, and then he makes the almost double save.
If we don't have a winner in 90 minutes, we'll go to extra time. If we don't have a winner then the tie will be decided by penalty kicks. So it could be a long old game, this one. It's been fascinating so far, and Juventus very much playing their part. 33 minutes gone on Talksport 2, live Club World Cup commentary. Real Madrid nil, Juventus nil, and Real Madrid with this free kick that Vinicius Junior won. And Vinicius Junior stands over alongside Trent Alexander-Arnold. Gula's there for the short one, but has been told to jog away. And Vinicius Junior moving away now, so it looks like an in-swinger from Trent Alexander-Arnold. Raises his arm, sends it in. That's too high though, and easy for Di Gregorio, was able to just pluck the ball out of the air, and then a foul by Gula on Cambiaso, and that's the Juventus free kick.
Yeah, it's not been a particularly good 33 minutes for Trent Alexander-Arnold. Nothing's really come off as yet. A couple of mistakes and targeting his side, Juventus.
He said that he did expect entering the Real Madrid dressing room to be quite scary because of the global stars on show, but he said the guys are very friendly. They've done everything they can to make him feel at home. Said the settling in period is now done. It's about kicking on and being the best player he can be. Arda Güler with the foul on Cambiaso down the Juventus left, just inside the Real Madrid half. It's going to be a free kick to Juventus, who are European royalty, Italian champions 36 times, have won the Coppa Italia on 15 occasions. They were European champions in 1985 and 1996. As for Real Madrid, they've been Spanish champions 36 times, European champions 15 times. Big hitters, no doubt about that. And having a good old tussle in Miami at the moment as we move towards the final 10 minutes of the first half. Here's Lloyd Kelly, midway inside his own half. He's settled in nicely with Juventus. Here is Locatelli. He's played a clever ball here in behind on the left-hand side to Cambiaso, who keeps it in. Up against Trent Alexander-Arnold. His cross to the far post is too high. Conceição will scamper after it and keep the ball in. Just in field from the right touchline, and he goes all the way back to Kalulu. But they were in there down the left.
Again, that's the space. And they're just being clever enough for Yildiz to drift away from Rudiger, and then they can double up on Alexander-Arnold, who doesn't know whether to go in with Yildiz or stay out with Cambiaso. And they're just getting some joy time and time again.
Good work down the right-hand side by Alberto Costa, who's been a man transformed. But he has given away a free kick there after a tussle with Fran Garcia. But Costa had to be taken out of the firing line and moved into centre-back against City because Jeremy Doku was going past him each and every time. But he's been determined and diligent against Vinicius Junior and Fran Garcia, and he's being backed up well by Pierre Kalulu. Here is Trent Alexander-Arnold. Big wrench, no doubt, to leave Liverpool in the summer, but he had something of a mic drop by helping them deliver the Premier League title. Here is Vinicius Junior, who lays it off to Gula, who's looked nice and tidy in his work so far, although defensively maybe not so much. And here he is, playing the ball forward left-footed, and Juventus able to get a boot in there. The ball's going to spin behind for a Real Madrid corner, and it's bubbling up nicely, this one.
Yeah, it is. It's really settled, hasn't it, the game into Real Madrid probing and struggling really to create, and then Juventus looking a real threat when they go forwards on the break.
It's been a frustrating season for Real Madrid. Lost to Arsenal in the Champions League domestically, lost out to Barcelona in 3 competitions, including La Liga. They've taken this corner short, curling cross, and it beats absolutely everyone and goes behind for a Juventus goal kick. Tchouaméni attacked it, Housen attacked it, nobody got the touch.
No, they didn't. It was Tchouaméni who the chance was there for. He just completely misses his header. It's a nicely worked short corner in towards Valverde. Valverde sets for Gula to then whip that in, swinging with his left foot. Tchouaméni just completely misjudges the fly and the header. He misses it. Housen's not expecting him to and can't then get on the end of that.
He doesn't get many goals, Aurelien Tchouaméni. He's only ever got 5 for Real Madrid, and this is game number 144. Can score from range. He scored in the Copa del Rey final against Barcelona from a set piece. There's another showpiece that Real lost to Barcelona. So winning this tournament, very important to them, and of course they see themselves as the biggest and best club in the world, and therefore stands to reason that they feel they should be winning the first ever expanded Club World Cup, or certainly the first expanded to this extent. Here's Valverde in midfield for Los Merengues. They've already won the Club World Cup 5 times, more than anyone in the tournament's history. And importantly for them, twice more than Barcelona. Any opportunity to put the Catalans in their place is one they'll gleefully accept. Here's Housen sauntering over halfway. 39th minute, 0-0, Real Madrid-Juventus. Gonzalo Garcia trying to burst through, but surrounded by dark blue shirts. Kylian Mbappe on the bench for this one for Real Madrid, back from the gastroenteritis that's kept him out so far. When will we see him introduced? Xabi Alonso's got to get that decision right, because, as I say, we could be going to extra time at some stage. Here comes Vinicius Junior down the left. He tried to play it into the path of Fran Garcia, who overran it and then fouled his man. He runs over to the referee, Simon Marciniak, protesting his innocence, but it is going to be a free kick to Juventus.
Yeah, he stuck to the task there. Conceição just got his body in the way. Fran Garcia with a little nudge to the back for the free kick, but Gonzalo Garcia hasn't had a look at all yet. He's not been able to get into the game. He's a different player to Vinicius Junior, who you can play into his feet and then he can do it by himself. I think he needs the service. Gonzalo Garcia.
He scored against Leganés in February. That was a winning goal. He scored against Al Hilal and Salzburg in this tournament. And he's a player that's probably played his way into a squad place for the forthcoming season. Save Real Madrid a bit of money in the market. Free kick taken quickly by Juventus down the left-hand side. Yildiz has just played it through the legs of Trent Alexander-Arnold. Yildiz is winning that personal battle at the moment, and Juventus have switched it to the right. They've got a man down, Colomouani, but they're carrying on. Conceição into the area, right-footed cross, but that's blocked by Fran Garcia, and now Real Madrid can look to bring it away. Vinicius Junior chased all the way there by Kalulu. That was good proactive defending, but Real Madrid's managing to keep possession.
I am slightly surprised Vinicius Junior hasn't just drifted across towards Kelly and Rugani. He's stayed over that side. I know it's his favoured side coming in on that right foot, but he's up against Kalulu, who's got the matching of him in terms of pace. I would just say go and drift over the other side for a little period, see if you can get a bit more joy.
It's a very little out of Kalulu. Here's Trent Alexander-Arnold. Lots of space in the inside right channel. Space that Juventus are happy to let him have at times. And here's Fran Garcia now down the left. Plays it back to Valverde. Real Madrid looking for the answers here against a determined and dangerous Juventus team. Of course, we had a big shock in the early hours of the morning as Manchester City went out to Al Hilal. This would be a big shock as well if Juventus were to knock out Real Madrid. I know they're both giants of the European game, but Real Madrid heavy favourites going into this one. But again, good defending this time by Kelly, and the ball breaks for Kefren Turam. So much energy in that midfield. Turam, his father Lilian Thuram was a fantastic player, World Cup winner. And now a bit of space for Cambiaso, who was linked with Manchester City earlier in the year. Here is Thuram now bursting beyond the challenge of Rudiger down the left-hand side for Juventus, waiting for support to arrive. Curls it into the box. It was a poor ball though. Locatelli on the follow-up wins it back for the Italians. 43rd minute, Real Madrid 0, Juventus 0. Here on Talksport 2, live Club World Cup round of 16 action. And Juventus have made the better chances so far, and they are not giving Real Madrid much to work with. And it is almost like an away game for them. Vast majority of the fans in the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami are followers of Real Madrid, it seems. But Juventus, I think, actually quite enjoying that state of affairs.
Yeah, I think so. They've been comfortable, haven't they? Yet to really see the best of these Real Madrid stars. Bellingham, Gula, Vinicius Junior, all struggling to really get into the game and assert themselves on it.
Jude Bellingham's probably had Real Madrid's best effort so far. Close range effort that was superbly saved by Michele Di Gregorio. Nice little exchange between Bellingham and Igor Tudor down by the touchline. Space here for Tchouameni in the centre circle for Real Madrid, who are looking for a way through. Ball is rolled out to Gula. Gula forward to Valverde, who just pokes it out to Trent Alexander-Arnold, but it's all a bit laborious from the Spanish Giants at the moment. Not much pace in the attack, but here's Tchouameni just to his left and Housen up from the back in that three centre-back system. Vinicius Junior with a low ball into the box, but that's comfortably cleared. And Juventus responding well to everything the Real Madrid are throwing at them at the moment. And we're in the final minute of normal time at the end of the first half. Again, Real Madrid recycle possession. Again, they try and pull at the threads of this Juventus defence, trying to make it unravel. Here is Alexander-Arnold. That's a good cross headed away by Rugani. Really important touch from him.
He doesn't need much space, does he, Alexander-Arnold? He needs a step really to be able to deliver a wicked ball in there towards Bellingham. He was the only one in the area though.
That was a Trent special. They lacked numbers. Here's Gula. Oh, over the head of Cambiaso. That's brilliant. Into the penalty area, Arda Gula. But his cross doesn't match the skill that preceded it. But that was a moment of magic from Arda Gula.
Special, wasn't it? Just drew Cambiaso in with letting it hit his chest as if he'd just taken it too far, but actually he was just luring him in to then flick it over his head. It was sensational from Arda Gula, and that's why you need him higher up.
Into the first of 4 additional minutes at the end of the half. Real Madrid not having it all their own way, but here's Valverde! And he let fly from range. And an excellent save by Di Gregorio. Hurled himself to his left. Big, strong hand. Turned it around the post to a corner.
Yeah, that sharpened the senses, didn't it, for Di Gregorio? Brilliant strike, Valverde from distance. Had to get right across for that firm left hand, as you said.
Got a good early view of it, Di Gregorio, but there were no guarantees there. Strikes the ball so brilliantly, Valverde. It's going to be Trent Alexander-Arnold to take the corner, an outswinger. Towards the far post, headed by Housen. Cleared only partially by Juventus. Back in by Tchouameni, and Di Gregorio able to take it. And Juventus can breathe a sigh of relief there. Thibaut Courtois did once talk about Valverde shooting in training, and he said you have to concentrate every single time, because if you don't set yourself properly, he'll break your hand, because he hits it so hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's not lost on me, even years after retiring, just how incredible goalkeepers are. You know, the power they have in their wrists, their hands, their fingers is quite remarkable. And they'll be tested no more than that man. Federico Valverde, he can strike it.
He is the classic, when the ball's hit, it stays hit. Here's Gonzalo Garcia, has been a peripheral figure so far. Now Vinicius Junior suddenly found himself down a blind alley. Juventus' work without the ball, Dean Ashton, has been absolutely stellar.
Yeah, it has. They've just crowded the likes of Vinicius Junior when they've had the ball, and because they're set in such a well-organised deep position, it doesn't take much. It's a 5-yard sprint, either way, just to get out and get at Real Madrid, who just haven't really got that threat in behind, have they? Gonzalo Garcia is just stood, almost waiting, trying to be patient, staying in the middle of the pitch. Vinicius Junior is coming slightly deeper or wider.
It is worth bearing in mind that going into this tournament, Juventus had racked up 21 clean sheets in all competitions. And there's Fran Garcia raiding down the left-hand side for Real Madrid. Up against Alberto Costa. Tickles the ball infield to Gula. Now Jude Bellingham wearing that famous number 5 on his back, the number of Zinedine Zidane at Real Madrid. Bellingham forward to Vinicius Junior in the area. Out to Trent Alexander-Arnold. Great cross. But Real Madrid couldn't make best use of it. He just fired it across the face of goal, and Juventus did enough.
Well, I thought he put the ball in exactly where Gonzalo Garcia wanted, who was darting towards that near post. Alexander-Arnold just flashed it in with as much pace as he could to give him the chance. It's just whether he misses it or it's out of his reach.
Final 30 seconds of this first half. Tchouameni just to the right of centre. Out to Trent Alexander-Arnold, who fires it back in field to Rudiger. It's looked a little bit uncomfortable at times, Rudiger, in that wide centre-back role. Here's Housen. And now it's with Gula. Gula just chips it like a golf shot onto the instep of Trent Alexander-Arnold. 10 seconds to half-time. Rudiger, will he go for goal from range? He's done it before, but not this time. Out to Alexander-Arnold. Cross for the outside of the boot, headed up but not really away. Juventus with work to do. Locatelli's header, he's awful, but he gets away with it. Headed it back towards his own goal, and Valverde couldn't get anything on it. But Juventus survive, and that is a goalless first half in which Juventus have played a big role. They've made the best chances so far. Kolo Muani lifting an effort over the top. They have tested this Real Madrid rear garden at the other end. Valverde with a pile driver and Bellingham with a close range shot, testing Di Gregorio. But Juventus well worth parity. Half time it's Real Madrid 0, Juventus 0, and Dean, it's been a great effort from the Italians.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with the way they set out. They were brave early on as well, looking to counter-attack in numbers, not just sitting there. They've defended well at times. They've really restricted Real Madrid to efforts from distance from the likes of Vinicius Jr. and Valverde. Bellingham, the only one in the area to get that opportunity that was saved well by Di Gregorio. But Colomwani, 1v1 with Courtois, has to score. That was the big chance of the half. And you just wonder whether they will rue those opportunities in the second half.
Real Madrid 0, Juventus 0 at half-time. You're listening to the FIFA Club World Cup live on Talksport 2, presented by DAZN. Watch every game of the FIFA Club World Cup live and for free on DAZN. Sign up at dazn.com.
Straight talking and straight to the point.
All too easy.
This is Talksport 2. FIFA Club World Cup kickoff on Talksport 2. Presented by DAZN. Sign up now at dazn.com to watch every game live and for free.
Summertime is get-together time. And just imagine the get-togethers you could have if you win big with Lotto. Because the Lotto £15 million jackpot must be won this Saturday. Don't forget to play. Get your ticket today. Lotto from the National Lottery. Prizes rounded down to the nearest £1. Rules and procedures apply. Players must be 18 or over.
Car owners, you could be owed thousands in compensation. If you bought a car on finance from 2007 onwards, it may have been sold with hidden commissions. Text check to 86688. My Claim Group. Authorized and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. You don't need to use a CMC. You can claim direct to your lender and the Financial Ombudsman for free. Text check to 86688.
Claims made simple. When you're setting up a new nest, starting your own flock, or they just keep on growing, get the flexibility you need with VeryPay. Pay now, later, or pay over 3 months and pay no interest. Very, the online store for fashion, home and more. Search VeryPay. Ways to pay that work your way. VeryPay credit provided subject to status by Shop Direct Finance Company Limited, 18+, representative 44.9% APR variable.
Get 20% off your summer getaway when you book 3 nights or more at Premier Inn. Saving you money, but also saving you when you decide you can't deal with festival campsites anymore. When you realise you really need some time away from the city. And when you just yearn to be beside the seaside. Premier Inn's 20% summer savings, saving you this summer in more ways than one. Premier Inn. Rest easy.
Standard rate non-refundable rooms booked direct, UK only. Minimum stay 3 consecutive nights before 30th of September. Booking window 24th June to 7th July. Terms apply. See premierin.com.
FIFA Club World Cup on 5. The world's best come together to decide the greatest club on earth. 32 teams across the globe compete to be crowned world champions.
Rodrigo, what a strike that was!
Watch the biggest names,
Mbappe,
the biggest clubs, take each other on. Who will win the FIFA Club World Cup 2025? Watch, stream on 5.
Where can you get the latest breaking sports news delivered with the laser-like accuracy of Michael Van Gerwen? And hear passionate opinions debated with the confident dexterity of Virgil van Dijk.
The Liverpool fans celebrate.
Answer on the radio show that's got the nation's sports fans buzzing like a Van de Graaff generator. Early breakfast with Shabana Hearn. Weekday mornings from 5 on Talksport with Adrian Flux Van Insurance. Insurance for the individual. Search Adrian Flux Van Insurance to find out more.
On DAB+, online, via the Talksport app and on your smart speaker.
Club World Cup football.
With the best soccer ball on the radio.
Hear goals from Georgia to California.
It's the Summer Soccer Fest. The Club World Cup 2025 on Talksport 2.
And goals we trust.
And the European Championships get underway. Right footed drive. Hits the post, comes off the goalkeeper and in. Spectacular hit from Diani.
Cuts back onto her right foot and finds the net. Vivian Mina Friedemann.
And opportunities around the goalkeeper, and it's in from Bob Marty.
Hooks up the cross, and the header is in from Harder.
Into the penalty area, Gonzalez with the shot, past the goalkeeper and in. A lovely move by Spain.
His ball has fallen for Hegerberg in the penalty area, plays it square, Friedemann and taps it in. 2 goals in quick succession for Norway.
And Eva Pyle there to gleefully tap home from inside the 6-yard box.
So Wales, for the first time in their history, have qualified for a major tournament.
Gritting Canarid from the angle with the shot, and it flashes into the back of the net. Opportunity for Russo inside the penalty area, finds the corner. Alessia Russo for England.
Yes, the Women's Euros gets underway tomorrow, and of course, the Talksport network has you covered. Though Switzerland get their campaign underway against Norway live on Talksport tomorrow at 8 p.m, and then England kick off against France at the same time on Saturday evening. As well as France, England are in a group with the Netherlands and Wales. The England boss Sarina Wiegman has been speaking to the media about writing new stories with the Lionesses.
No, of course, I always say we totally cherish these moments. You never ever forget these moments because, this is the moments that make the difference, and that's what you do it for. But this is a new moment, and before every tournament you experience different things, and I'm the lucky one to have experienced a couple of tournaments now. And it's different again. So I'm just in the now, looking forward to the next, of course, tomorrow, but also looking forward to the game against France, the opening match, with different team, some with lots of experiences, some that come into this environment and are ready also to go into their first tournament, and we're really excited. And what Jess just said too, like we had now 2 weeks of training session going into this tournament, and we're really on it, and hopefully we can show that tomorrow, and even better when we can show that in our first game on the 5th of July.
Across her time with the Netherlands and England, Sarina Wiegman has got to the final of 4 major tournaments in a row if you combine the World Cup and the European Championship. England, of course, winners the last time the Euros were held. It is a phenomenal record, Dean.
It is. I think it says everything about her abilities as a coach, certainly at international level, to be able to get the players together in the right moments for these tournaments and take them through and guide them through. And I think that's what's going to be actually important when I think of the Lionesses in particular. Is it sounds strange to say, but it's all the feels. They know now what it is, what it takes to go through and deep and win a major tournament. So you're already taking that pressure almost away of the fear factor before you've ever won one of these competitions. And I think actually, although it's a very, very difficult group, if they can come through that group, the confidence that will give them going into the knockout stages could be really important.
Yeah, plenty of really exciting games to come. England's group is absolutely fascinating. They've got France, they've got the Netherlands, they've also got Wales, who have qualified for a major tournament for the first time. So many games coming up on the Talksport network. It's going to be a really exciting tournament. Let's switch our attention back to our game, which is Real Madrid against Juventus, in a way, because we're going to talk about a former Juventus player, Paul Pogba. He signed for the French side Monaco in a 2-year deal following the conclusion of his doping ban. Now, Pogba's never played domestically in France, despite playing for the national team 91 times, the last of those caps over 3 years ago in a friendly against South Africa. The French football journalist Eric Bielderman joined Jim White and Simon Jordan and said that Pogba can expect a good reception from French football fans.
I think he will get a positive reception.
Really?
Why?
From all of them?
Yeah. Let me explain. The French league, except Paris Saint-Germain, is struggling. He's struggling in terms of money. He's struggling in terms of quality player. They lose every year their top names. And when you have in the French Premier League, so-called the Farmers League, somebody like Paul Pogba coming, of course there will be debate. Of course there will be critics about his past, about about Man United behavior, and when he left to Juventus, when Fergie was furious like hell. All these stories are true, but we desperately need to have strong name emerging in the French league, and why Monaco is a perfect bet to me because Monaco, it's a safe place. You can really handle a player. It's a place where Paul Pogba will be just a normal citizen. He will be the neighbor of Lewis Hamilton, the neighbor of Pogacar, the neighbor of Max Verstappen, the neighbor of all the world-class sportsmen. So to arrive there is a kind of a safe, quiet, no media circus, no fan circus. So some away game, of course, it will be maybe good, but it will be seen as an attraction. An attraction makes the people happy.
I like the idea that Paul Pogba might run out of coffee and give Lewis Hamilton a knock just to see if he can borrow some. He's right, actually, isn't he, Eric? Because you look at Liga, we know about Paris Saint-Germain, we know about the superstars that they have, but the rest of the league needs that star quality. Marseille have got it to a certain extent. I actually think their biggest star is the coach, Roberto De Zerbi. But for Pogba to be at Monaco, he's still box office. Whatever people think of him and his behaviour, he is still a big, big name.
Yeah, I mean, it's a slightly backwards way of it coming about, of him, playing in French football. But you're right, it's a big coup for Monaco to bring in such a player. We're not sure, obviously, at what level he's going to be at, but it feels like a real opportunity. He was very emotional when he signed. I think he's been through a lot, clearly, and I just hope actually we can see the best of him, because the headlines precede him and will probably continue throughout his career. I just hope we can see a few glimpses of the absolutely incredible player that he can be.
A World Cup winner, of course, Paul Pogba. Now, we had a big shock in the early hours of the morning as Manchester City lost 4-3 to Al Hilal after extra time. Dean Ashton, how big a blow is that for Manchester City, and how concerning is it for Pep Guardiola that they look so vulnerable at times defensively?
Of course, it's not a great look, especially after what we saw last season at times, which was disorganisation and panic in defensive situations, and we saw some of that again creep in against Al Hilal. I think we've got to realise Al Hilal are no pushovers. They've got some incredible stars in their side that have played together now for a couple of seasons, those players.
One of the best coaches in the world.
Yeah, one of the best coaches in the world. So it didn't actually come as big a surprise as maybe it would to others, but still it's a concern for Manchester City, and as you talked about earlier, I think the confidence may be slightly knocked for City.
It's a really interesting situation because they demolished Juventus. They've got a lot of exciting talent, but he's going to need time to get that right, Pep Guardiola, and he doesn't actually have much time because we're only, 6 weeks away, really, from the start of the Premier League season, and then bang, you're at it. You've got Arsenal after you, you've got Liverpool looking to defend their crown, Chelsea are after you. You don't get a settling in period, do you?
No, and I think the transfers already that Liverpool have made to strengthen their squad means that you would expect them to start well and be strong right from the start. So City can't afford to have these strange lapses in defensive concentration, and they had their best defenders out against Al Hilal and still struggled. So Rodri is going to be key. He's still on his way back. We're still yet to show that real fitness. We'll see once he's properly fit whether actually he will, as he did before, make such a huge difference.
We know some of the quarter-final lineup. We know that Chelsea are going to play Palmeiras. You can hear that live on Talksport, by the way, in the early hours of Saturday morning. Scott Minto, the former Chelsea player, alongside James Fielden for that one. So that's one to look forward to. On Friday night, it's the quarter-final we maybe didn't expect. The Brazilian side Fluminense up against Al Hilal. PSG, they're going to play Bayern. That's on Saturday evening. That's going to be a fascinating clash, and we don't know the lineup for the last quarter-final yet. Either Real Madrid or Juventus will progress in the next hour or maybe couple of hours, and they will play either Borussia Dortmund or the Mexican side Monterrey, and they face each other in the early hours of the morning. So Quarter-final slots up for grabs. And Juventus did themselves proud in that first half, but didn't take their chances. And it's about making sure that they manufacture more so they're not left to rue those missed opportunities. Very much so. But we've seen this story so often where even if Real Madrid were to have gone behind, you don't rule them out. While it's still 0-0, of course, they've got Mbappe waiting in the wings. We're not sure quite how much football he'll be able to play. But if Juventus can perform the way like they did in the first half, they do have every chance of going on and winning the game because they were excellent. Well, Kylian Mbappe still among the subs. We did see a glimpse of him eating something, which is probably a good sign because for a fair old while he wasn't able to keep much down. He had a rather horrible illness, but he's back in the squad. That's a huge boost. And just a word on Mbappe, we don't know if we're going to see him play in this one. We don't know how much he will, but there's quite a lot of criticism that's come his way at times. I mean, the guy has scored 43 goals in all competitions in his first Real Madrid season. It's a phenomenal body of work. It is, yeah. And I think because of the standards that have been set at Real Madrid, throughout the history of the football club, you have to come in and do the most incredible things for that to be really noted. And I'm talking about, stunning, outrageous goals and breaking records as such. And I think he's handled himself actually really well in being able to push through a bit of criticism early on to still have a stellar season. I suppose also he's got to win stuff, and he hasn't yet. He's seen Barcelona take all the domestic prizes. They were knocked out by Arsenal in the Champions League. That was a really hefty blow. That just doesn't happen to Real Madrid in the Champions League, but it did. Now the Real Madrid players just striding back out onto the turf at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. Live Club World Cup coverage, round of 16. Who will take a place in the quarterfinals? Jude Bellingham worked hard in that first half, had one of their best chances, maybe their best chance, but was denied from close range by Di Gregorio. What have we got to see more from him in the second half? A lot more. I thought he was quiet other than that chance. Jude Bellingham didn't quite work down that right-hand side between himself and Alexander-Arnold. A couple of miscommunications. It was more Vinicius Junior that was creating down the left. Again, you almost think they can't be that average in this second half. I think that's as average as you're going to see Real Madrid, and Juventus actually might see a different team. Juventus will kick us off in this second half, wearing their chain strip. It's a really dark grey, I guess, verging into blue, and they will play from left to right, and Real Madrid in that iconic white strip, attacking the goal away to the left-hand side. No changes at half-time. I'll go through the lineups for you in just a moment as Colin Muani keeps the ball moving, finds Conceição inside right channel. Alberto Costa's cross, but that was poor. Easily cut out by Gula, who'd come back to help out defensively, and now Vinicius Junior with a little switch from left to right, but didn't really work out. He gave that away cheaply. Cambiaso seizes upon it. Back to Di Gregorio, who clears. So Juventus with Di Gregorio in goal, Kalulu, Rugani and Kelly at the back, Costa, Thuram, Locatelli and Cambiaso in midfield, Conceição and Yildiz supporting Colin Muani in attack. Here is Tchouameni for Real Madrid, forward to their captain Valverde, who had a pile driver of a shot in the first half that was brilliantly saved by Di Gregorio. Chance to play the ball in from the right. Nice first touch by Bellingham, lays it off, and the shot is just wide of the far post from Valverde. He was inside right channel of the penalty area, hit it left-footed, cuts across it, goalkeeper motionless, Real Madrid close. Well, it was Rudiger that just fed that ball in towards Jude Bellingham, and the first touch was high, and I thought he's going to go for the overhead kick. He didn't. He laid it back to Valverde, who was so calm in trying to control that left-footed side-winding volley towards that far post, just trying to arc it in. Didn't get the bend he needed, maybe a foot wide in the end, but it's a difficult chance, but one he felt
maybe he could have hit the target with.
Tell you what, the goalkeeper had seen that go just inside the post. I don't think he would have been in the equation. So Real Madrid with Courtois in goal, Howson, Rudiger, Tchouaméni, the back three. Fran Garcia, Bellingham, Valverde, Gula and Alexander-Arnold, the midfield five, and up front Vinicius Junior and Gonzalo Garcia. Gonzalo Garcia, the youngster who was a peripheral figure in that first half. Kylian Mbappe on the bench after his recovery from illness. Will we see him in Miami on the field? Long ball here and a miscommunication between Rudiger and Courtois. Courtois has to head the ball clear from the edge of his own penalty area. Rudiger looked really hesitant there. Juventus on the attack with Thuram. Thuram left corner of the area, and his attempted cross deflects behind for a corner.
Well, you just wouldn't expect that from two senior players in Rudiger and Courtois, who ends up coming out and whacking Rudiger in the heel as Rudiger eventually cleared, but it was a mess.
And still just clearing things up now, the two veterans, the German Rudiger and the Belgian Courtois. Here is the corner short from Juventus. Cambiaso's cross headed away brilliantly by Howson. So strong in the air, of course he should be. Such a tall figure. But again, early in this second half, Juventus threatening. 3 minutes gone in the second half. Real Madrid 0, Juventus 0. Kevin Hatchard alongside the former Premier League and England striker Dean Ashton, and they're in again here. Juventus cross from the left. It beat the defender, but it also beat Kolo Muani. Flags up in any case from the initial ball down the left, but Howson with a scary moment there, and Kolo Muani couldn't take advantage.
Yeah, he may have just strayed too early there. Cambiaso, he played the ball across. Kolo Muani isn't expecting it because he thinks Howson's going to clear it, and he just misses it, and then Kolo Muani can't react, but the flag had gone up early for Cambiaso just straying.
Real Madrid have made an unbeaten start to this tournament. Drew 1-1 with Al Hilal, beat Pachuca 3-1, and then beat Salzburg 3-0. Here's Vinicius Junior, got a goal in that Salzburg game. Cross to the far post behind Gonzalo Garcia. Trent Alexander-Arnold coming in, and he got right underneath it, and the ball sails over the crossbar. A presentable chance for the former Liverpool man, and he couldn't take it.
No, he would have really fancied it as well. It was really good work by Vinicius Junior, who will continue to go at Kalulu, this time getting the cross that went all the way through to Alexander-Arnold. First time looking to strike through it with the laces, and just overstepped on that last bit of footwork, and it went up and over.
Xabi Alonso, the new coach of Real Madrid, on the edge of his technical area, cajoling and encouraging as the rain starts to fall in Miami. No sign of that thunder that was potentially forecast. Here's Kolo Muani, trying to chase through the middle. Howson's there, knocks it behind for a corner, and he's largely had another imperious game, Dean Howson. He is a player that plays well beyond his 20 years.
He's also got a decent turn of pace as well. Kolo Muani there looking to race away, and Howson stuck with him.
It's going to be Kenan Yildiz to take this corner from the far side to left. It'll be an in-swinger, right-footed. 51st minute. Yildiz with the corner towards the far post, headed away by Howson towards the edge of the area, back in by Costa. And now they can bring it away. It was Bellingham's defensive header, and suddenly there's a 2-on-1. Vinicius Junior racing into space. Real Madrid's number 7, Vinicius Junior. Brilliant challenge there by Locatelli, who had to race back and help from midfield. And then Real Madrid managed to win a free kick down the left-hand side, but that was superb from Manuel Locatelli.
It was. He really just took his time to come across, waiting for the opportune moment that Vinicius Junior may overrun it, and he did. He wasn't ever in control, Vinicius Junior. They've been waiting for that attack all game from a Juventus corner. Locatelli waited and then stepped across at the perfect moment.
And berated his teammates afterwards. Here's Gula's free kick towards the far post. Brilliant header clear by Rugani. He's had a couple of really important interceptions in this game. Here they come again, Real Madrid. Space opening up here. Right foot shot by Bellingham and beaten away by Di Gregorio. It was a slaloming run by the England international Jude Bellingham, and he let fly in Di Gregorio. Hurled himself to his left to make the save. Here's Arda Güler. Just lifts the ball onto the chest of Bellingham on the right. And Jude Bellingham trying to get more involved in this game.
Yeah, it was well worked from Jude Bellingham. A couple of shots that he just faked on the defenders, and then when he had the chance to strike, he struck it well, near post. Di Gregorio.
Vinicius Junior onto his right foot, curling cross, headed away again by Rugani. Shot by Howson, what a save! Howson from miles out with a right foot volley. Di Gregorio would have seen that really late, and he's got across and turned the ball around the far post.
I think that's what he's saying, the goalkeeper. He was saying he didn't see it until it came past his defender. A really early strike from Howson, struck it beautifully, dipped at the goalkeeper's legs, and Di Gregorio making sure he parried it away.
Impeccable technique from Howson and a great save. Güler's corner, in-swinger, headed away again by Rugani. He's looking rock solid at the moment, Daniele Rugani. Here's Fran Garcia, inside left channel, out to Vinicius Junior, left corner of the penalty area, curling cross, headed away by Lloyd Kelly. It'll come out to Trent Alexander-Arnold, his cross, and the header is in! And it's that youngster again! Gonzalo Garcia, all alone, showing striker's instincts. And where have we seen this movie before? Real Madrid, second best at times, but they find a way. And it's the youngster who strikes. Real Madrid 1, Juventus 0.
Patience is a virtue. Gonzalo Garcia, the young man's had to have lots of it, because he's not been in the game. He's not had a look, but he just keeps waiting, he just keeps lurking. He knows that quality is going to come from the wide areas, and he just manoeuvred himself into a great position between two defenders, just drifts off, and as that ball comes in from Alexander-Arnold, he's there, he's free, and he just powers the header. He makes absolutely sure with the header that it's up and over Di Gregorio to give Real Madrid the lead.
Well, there's been a lot of talk about Real Madrid looking for a classic centre-forward since Joselu left the club. He was really missed in the season just gone to some extent. And that was a very Joselu goal from Gonzalo Garcia, who Xabi Alonso has earmarked as a future member of his squad going forwards. And he has made a name for himself at the Club World Cup. That's his third goal of the tournament. And he is feeling pretty good about life right now. Real Madrid finding a breakthrough, as they so often do. Gonzalo Garcia. And it was, as you said, Dean, and you would know, classic piece of centre-forward play, just finding the right space. But here is Thuram. Little 1-2, and then the shot is poured away. It was Courtois who had to get across. It was Conceição looking for the bottom corner. He went for accuracy rather than power, and it was poured away by Courtois. And now Real Madrid on the move down the right with Gonzalo Garcia. Cuts it back to Vinicius Junior on the edge of the area. Curling cross into the box. It got away from Valverde as he was moving in. And the game really opening up now. And I'm not sure that's what Juventus want, because that spells danger for the Italian Giants. It's a free kick. And the referee, Simon Marciniak, just moving across to Lloyd Kelly, who's down on halfway. Trent Alexander-Arnold moved across to see if he was okay. But Conceição with a dangerous effort there, saved by Courtois.
Yeah, it was a low effort from Conceição, skimming along the surface. Courtois parrying it out, not very well actually, almost in the path of Cambiasso. And then it was a great break from Real Madrid once again. It felt like a wild minute or so in the game. We're just going back to the goal. If you give Alexander-Arnold the space and continue to, he won't continue to be poor. He'll eventually punish you. He'll eventually put a delivery in that'll hurt you. And it was a great delivery that just needed to be headed home. And Gonzalo Garcia, he's not going to out-jump the defence, so he just made sure he was in between. and it landed right on his forehead to power it past the goalkeeper and have his moment.
Well, Garcia says right now he's not thinking about the future. He said he's hoping there'll be more opportunities to play for Real Madrid. He said that's been his dream since he joined the academy. Osasuna were looking at him, the La Liga club. They've already admitted that they now can't get him. They thought they'd come up with something under the radar, and then he started producing these performances, and they crossed him gently off their list. Well, Real Madrid did have a good spell. They were starting to really get into the game and test Di Gregorio, but if you think about the chances Juventus made in the first half, you think about how well they played, we see this time and time again. If you don't finish Real Madrid off when you're in a position of strength, they'll find a way. They always do. And because they always do, they have that innate belief, don't they?
Well, and you know it as an opposition, and they'll have probably felt it as well at half-time, Juventus, that they didn't take their opportunities, and they knew that Real Madrid's moment would come. It's just now what Juventus do. Do they have to come out, or do they continue to play the way they have done?
As a player that for a while, Gonzalo Garcia has been seen as somebody who has that competitive edge. He's a really determined individual. Gula, nice pass towards Bellingham. It was just taken off Bellingham's toe, but it'll come for Valverde. Back to Vinicius Jr. Cross with the outside of the boot, headed away by Rugani. And a really good play from Colomouani, who shielded the ball on the edge of his own area and wins the free kick. It would have been very easy to panic there. And there is going to be a change here. Lloyd Kelly can't continue, and it's quite an attacking change. They're going to bring on Nicolas Gonzalez as Igor Tudor tries to chase the game. Filip Kostic is going to come on as well, actually. So they're going to take the opportunity to make a double change. Filip Kostic, who is back after a loan spell at Fenerbahce. So Kostic will play down that left-hand side, and maybe they'll move Cambiaso into the wide centre-back role. And the other player coming off is Francisco Conceição, and it'll be the Argentinian Nicolas Gonzalez to replace him. That feels like a like-for-like change, whereas Kostic is a little bit more of a reshuffle, I would suggest. Dean, what do you make of that one?
I'm surprised Conceição, just because I thought he's been very bright in those forward areas. But ultimately, it just feels there needs to be a slight change because Real Madrid have been on top, just try and unsettle that rhythm that they've now got into.
Filip Kostic, who won the Europa League under the now Crystal Palace boss Oliver Glasner with Eintracht Frankfurt. Here's Vinicius Jr. racing down the left into the penalty area. Cuts inside on his right foot. Cross deflected, and the overhead kick is brilliantly kept out. Valverde with a stupendous effort, and Di Gregorio equal to it. Palms the ball around the near post.
Yeah, stunning from both. First of all, from Valverde to get the purchase and the twisting motion into that overhead kick as it came over his right shoulder was brilliant, and the power. Di Gregorio once again, as he has been for most of the night, equal to it with a parry wide as he was falling back towards his goal.
Yeah, stepping on the gas here, Real Madrid. An hour gone. Live Club World Cup commentary on Talksport 2. The round of 16 that are placed in the quarters up for grabs. Real Madrid to take this corner from the near side, the left. Simon Marciniak not happy for them to take it just yet. And now Trent Alexander-Arnold will deliver. It's already created something for Gonzalo Garcia. That's whipped in with real pace, fisted away by Di Gregorio, the goalkeeper. Valverde keeps it alive. Gula back out to Valverde, the captain. Plays a driven ball into the penalty area. That's cleared by Rondal Colomouani. Real Madrid 1, Juventus 0. 62nd minute in Miami. Just one knockout game remaining after this one, and that's the one between Job Bellingham's Borussia Dortmund and Sergio Ramos's Monterrey. So If Real Madrid were to go through, there'd be a reunion of some sort, whether it's Bellingham and Bellingham or Ramos and Real. And Housen just slowing things down for Madrid. Rudiger then speeds it up and actually gave the ball away, but Kostic had a rather ragged first touch. It's worth bearing in mind how much football Real Madrid have played going into this tournament. Real Madrid have played a staggering 62 games since the start of last season. That's what happens when you go deep in tournaments. There's always going to be an element of fatigue, and they haven't always dominated games. And when they played Pachuca in the group stage, played most of the game with 10 men. Here's Thuram being chased out to the far side and finds Kalulu.
And there's one player that's played in all of them, and it's not a surprise at all in Valverde. He is a physical machine, isn't he?
He's an Iron Man. It's just unbelievable.
He is.
His nickname is the Little Bird, which seems really wayward as a nickname. Should have something a lot tougher than that. He is a phenomenal footballer. And they did really suffer, actually, because Dani Carvajal was injured. He ended up playing quite a lot at right back, and you take him out of the midfield, of course you're going to suffer in that area. But he ended up being his own worst enemy by being excellent at right back as well. You can see why they wanted to bring Trent Alexander-Arnold in, with Dani Carvajal only just back from injury. They've left Gonzalo Garcia in a heap there. Juventus. Simon Marciniak just coming across to have a word with Rugani. It's a warning and nothing more than that. But he's a fighter, Gonzalo Garcia, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got that about him, I think. Just sort of shakes his head and gets on with it. Rugani was super aggressive with him there, testing the young Spaniard.
He does have a competitive fire. He hates losing. His youth coaches have talked about whether it's video games, board games, or rondo. He absolutely hates losing. It's generally the case with a lot of the top players. And there's a bit of a hubbub around the stadium, and I wonder if that's because we might see Kylian Mbappe soon. What would be his Club World Cup debut. Space here for Fran Garcia down the left. His cross is behind all the intended targets, and Kalulu should be able to clear, and does. They've actually not changed the front three, the back three in the way that I thought, Juventus. They've actually moved Alberto Costa infield with Rugani and Kalulu. And Kostic and Cambiaso a little bit wider. Here's Vinicius Junior, and it's walking pace at the moment for Real Madrid, and they've earned that because they're the team in control at the moment, Dean Ashton.
And they want to draw Juventus out as well. So they're just really slowing it down, waiting for Juventus to have to come out in this game, which they will at some point. Just try and sap a bit of energy out of the Juventus players before that happens.
These two haven't actually met since the 2018 Champions League quarter-finals. Madrid lost the first leg 3-1, won the second 3-0. And here come Real Madrid, low cross on the right-hand side from Gonzalo Garcia. That's swept behind by Rugani, and that's going to be a corner. And Kylian Mbappe is stripped and ready to rumble. And you can hear the reception. A delayed start to his Club World Cup, but he's ready to try and make it impact. And in terms of goal scoring, he's already done that in every other competition he's played. 43 goals in his first Real Madrid season. How he would love to make his mark in Miami in this one. But he's not on yet. Here comes the corner first from the right, headed away by Rugani, kept alive by Trent Alexander-Arnold. They'll have the chance to play it in with Gula, and Gula's cross deflected, and that's another corner. And again, Juventus under severe pressure.
Yeah, he's got super delivery, hasn't he? Oh, Gula. Dangerous ball in again. Rugani with a superb header as they take this one short.
Trent Alexander-Arnold back out to Gula on his left foot, curling cross. The header at the near post was rather missed by Gonzalo Garcia. Comes to Vinicius Junior, left edge of the penalty area, across to Bellingham, right foot shot blocked, comes out, another shot that's charged down Gula on the follow-up effort, and Juventus stay strong. And it remains Real Madrid 1, Juventus 0 here on Talksport 2. Juventus living on their nerves here to some extent. Alberto Costa in his own penalty area plays it over the press, looking for Cambiaso, but look at the work rate of Valverde. And here is the moment many of these fans in Miami have been waiting for. Kylian Mbappe making his first appearance at the Club World Cup. Another superstar joins the list at the Club World Cup, but the man he's replacing is becoming a bit of a star in his own right. Gonzalo Garcia, the man who scored the only goal of the game so far, he's withdrawn in Mbappe's favour.
And I think he understands still at the moment. Gonzalo Garcia, he knows he's had his moment already, but he's leaving the pitch for a superstar coming on, Mbappe. The crowd love it. They've come to see him. He's got a new little trim as well. I'd love to know what it's called, but a little bit longer at the back. Mbappe? I'm sure you know.
I wish I could tell you that I do, but sadly that would be wasted on me. It's the grade 2 all over for me when I'm off to the barbers. That's the truth of it. Here's Locatelli just coming up to halfway for Juventus, who trail 1-0 here on Talksport 2. 68 on the watch. Here's the impressive Gula. Real Madrid have moved through the gears in the second half. They were arguably second best before half-time. Juventus had some big chances and didn't take them. And they've gone the way, potentially, of so many other opponents of Real Madrid who were on top and didn't make it count. Valverde to Mbappe. His first chance to run at Juventus, the number 9. Out to Vinicius Junior, back to Mbappe, and he couldn't get away from Daniele Rugani, who slammed that door shut. On the captain of France is Valverde. Right foot shot deflected, and luckily for Di Gregorio, the deflection took it straight into his midriff.
He just doesn't waste any time, does he? Federico Valverde, if that opportunity is there to strike, he's taking it. But just a little flash of what we might see, the combination of Vinicius Junior and Mbappe, nice and sharp, just the touch wasn't quite there for Mbappe.
There's Cambiaso wide on the right-hand side. Juventus are going to make a couple of changes here. Going to bring on Turncoat Mainers, the Dutch midfielder. That's one of the changes. Juventus need to start rolling the dice. Here's Kostic taking on Trent Alexander-Arnold onto that favoured left foot of Kostic's, but he goes back, and now it's with Yildiz, who's been quiet in the second half. Kenan Yildiz, who barely mentioned him, truth be told, had a really bright start to the game. Man has got 3 goals and counting in the Club World Cup. Plays it into the feet of Kolo Muani, and the shot driven just wide of the far post by Nicolas Gonzalez. Courtois was at full stretch. I don't think he was getting there. Goal kick.
It was really nicely worked though. Yildiz, so clever. Little pass through the legs in towards Kolo Muani, who set it for Gonzalez. It was a really good strike. Powerful, low, but just wide of Courtois' goal, who just let it run past without really making the effort.
Kenan Yildiz, who's not had a good second half, being replaced here by Turncoat Mainers, and Yildiz had a face like thunder. He was not happy with that at all. So he comes off, and the Dutchman Turncoat Mainers, who was signed from Atalanta last summer, comes on. Such a big part of what Atalanta did under Gianpiero Gasperini. Coat Mainers, but he hasn't really found his best form for the Bianconeri. 4 goals in his first Juventus season, although he has scored at this tournament. He was gifted a goal by Edison against Manchester City. Here's Kefren Turan. Oh, what a great ball to Coat Mainers in the penalty area. Left edge, back to Kostic. He's crossed, headed away by Rudiger. But Juventus have won it back with Kolo Muani on the edge of the area, and then the attack breaks down, and now Real Madrid can counter. And this is the danger for Juventus. Leaving space at the other end. Vinicius Junior, edge of the area, inside left channel, finds Mbappe onto his right foot. Mbappe across, the layoff to the edge of the area. Gula's shot brilliantly kicked away by Di Gregorio, who's keeping his team in this. Bellingham, 20 yards out, left foot Onto his right foot now, the number 5. Real Madrid's scenting the chance to put this game away. Mbappe away from Gonzalez, tries a little 1-2 with Vinicius Junior away by Alberto Costa, and then Juventus win a free kick on the edge of their own area, but Di Gregorio has made a string of excellent saves.
He has. He's been excellent for Juventus. I really like this save in terms of improvising as a goalkeeper. There's no need to go down. It's really fired in at him by Gula, and he just improvised and used his knee almost to get that away.
Kostic wide on the left-hand side, feeds it infield to Kalulu. Time is the enemy for Juventus. They were well off the title pace in the season just gone in Serie A. And a bit of room for Kalulu. Inside left channel up from the back, finding Locatelli. Locatelli, of course, who had success with Italy at the Euros and they beat England in the final at Wembley. Takes his time, spreads the play and finds Nicolas Gonzalez, who's had a rather underwhelming time of it since joining Juventus from Fiorentina. And he's been plagued by injuries. And Juventus is rather carelessly giving the ball away, and now Arda Güler can break. Wide on the far side, the right as we look at it. Comes inside on his left foot, tries to switch it. Fran Garcia takes it in stride. Now it's with Vinicius Junior, edge of the area, thinks about the right foot shot. Turns instead, Fran Garcia. Back he goes to Valverde. 30 yards out, inside left channel. Drifts the ball across to Bellingham. Real Madrid almost toying with Juventus here. Can they find that second goal? Güler. Dead centre, 35 yards out. Finding Valverde. Now Vinicius Junior again. Back he goes to Valverde. Real Madrid looking for the goal that would perhaps seal their passage to the quarter-finals, but they over-elaborated there. Loose touch by Mbappe. And Juventus can bring it clear. Cope Mainers infield to Thuram. You're listening to the Club World Cup live on Talksport 2, presented by DAZN. Watch every game of the FIFA Club World Cup live and for free on DAZN. Sign up at dazn.com. Copeman is the number 8 for Juventus. Down the inside left channel, and he plays it out to the far touchline. Now Locatelli. Locatelli rolls it to Cambiaso, who's moved into a central position here. The Italian international. Now Thuram. Thuram away from 2 challenges. Edge of the area, away from 3. Great run by Kefren Thuram. Copeman is crossed. That's blocked by Tchouameni. Ball breaks to Kostic on that left foot. Fires it across, and it was over the head of Courtois, and misjudged it completely. The ball beat him, but it beat everybody else. And then Alberto Costa with a loose touch, and that's a Real Madrid throw.
Yeah, it was really good work from Thuram. He's been excellent in midfield for Juventus. Just shifting it one way and then the other, poking it through. And eventually Kostic with a wicked delivery in that actually didn't need to be dealt with, but Courtois wasn't quite sure of his bearings.
We're going to have a cooling break. Juventus are going to make another couple of changes here. They're going to bring on Weston McKennie, the US international midfielder. And it looks as though they're also going to bring on Federico Gatti as well, who's a defender. Quarter of an hour to go. It doesn't seem fair, really, but Real Madrid's planning to bring on Luka Modric. How's that fair, bringing on one of the greatest midfielders who ever lived?
Well, it's not, is it? And he'll just go straight into, I'm going to control this game and the tempo of this for you.
And he's in that Thomas Müller situation where he knows that every game now that Real Madrid play could be his last, because he is leaving the club at the end of this tournament. And what a phenomenal job he has done as a Real Madrid player. He's won the Ballon d'Or, of course. And time again, he has lifted major trophies. It's his 595th appearance for Real Madrid. How he'd love to go out with yet more silverware. Of course, he's been brilliant for Croatia as well. 188 caps for his country. It's just phenomenal numbers.
It is. He's been an absolute superstar, but never acted like one. And just a little bit like Toni Kroos, just goes about his business as the most magical footballer.
Igor Tudor, a fellow Croatian, talked about him and said, what can I say about Luka? Croatia's a country of 4 million people. Somebody like Modric may be born once every 300 years. He said he's a source of pride for the country, but also a wonderful human being, a true ambassador for my homeland. I've got great affection for him. And he's going to come on for Arda Güler. Maybe an element of passing the torch there. So Luka Modric on. And the Juventus changes will be made as well. Straight away, the captain's armband is given to Modric by Valverde. This is the danger, of course, for Real Madrid to some extent, that lost Toni Kroos, they're going to lose Modric. It's a lot of experience to lose. Of course, they've still got some leaders, still got some players who are gaining those roles. Jude Bellingham already feels like a leader in this team, Valverde as well, but so much know-how in the likes of Modric and Kroos.
And it's just so difficult to replace, because you can't replace that experience they'd gained as well. It is up to the new young stars to learn and develop that.
78 minutes gone. Real Madrid 1, Juventus 0. The goal from Gonzalo Garcia early in the second half. The difference here on Talksport 2. Placing the quarterfinals up for grabs. Here's Gonzalez, twisting, turning for Juventus. About 35 yards out. He plays it back to Kalulu. Haven't actually made that change yet, Juventus, that they were mooting. Here's Thuram. Just opened up for Kefren Thuram inside left channel. He's found Locatelli. Might think about the shot. Bellingham moves out to meet him. And so they go across to the right-hand side, and Cambiaso with a low-angled ball into the path of Locatelli. His cross into the penalty area. That's the first touch for Luka Modric, perfectly positioned just inside the penalty area to head clear. Can Igor Tudor's men find an equaliser and maybe force extra time in Miami? Kalulu forward to Thuram. Juventus perhaps needing to inject some pace into this. Real Madrid just in their shape, daring the Italians to play through them. Locatelli just in front of the centre circle. Played it towards Gonzalez, but it was a loose first touch from him. He's been a bit ragged since coming on. Nicolas Gonzalez. Now Cambiaso for Juventus. It's a good spell. His cross towards the far post. Koopmeiners has kept it alive really well. Kolomuani tries to win it with a sliding challenge. It breaks for Thuram, edge of the D. Now Cambiaso into the penalty area, away from the challenge, and then Tchouaméni, sensing danger, comes out and just clears. But that was danger for a moment for Real Madrid. Vinicius Junior with a calm layoff, back to Tchouaméni, and that was a good break from Cambiaso.
It was. It's a couple of times he's useful because he can go both ways. Very comfortable on either foot, so difficult to defend against. Got himself through, tried to find the pass, wasn't quite there, and you just can sense Vinicius Junior and Mbappe are just waiting.
Here is Vinicius Junior into the penalty area, left edge, away from the challenge, cuts it back towards Mbappe, and Kefren Thuram with a goal-saving interception. If he hadn't got there, it could well have been a tap-in for Mbappe, but Thuram alive to the possibilities.
Yeah, it was Costa, wasn't it, that just completely went for the step over of Vinicius Junior. And he did the right thing, trying to find Mbappe. You're right, Thuram excellent in spotting that danger and stepping across.
Final 10 minutes of normal time. Real Madrid 1, Juventus 0, but Real Madrid haven't put this game away yet. Sense they might need a second goal to do that. Live on Talksport 2. Placing the quarter-finals against either Borussia Dortmund or Monterrey up for grabs. Ball is with Luka Modric. Forward it goes to Mbappe, inside left channel. Again, Real Madrid happy to be in second gear, happy to just drag Juventus out of their shape if they can. Valverde lends it to Mbappe, who plays it to Tchouaméni. And now it's with Howson in the centre circle. Another fine performance from Dean Howson so far. Really remarkable how quickly he's taken to life at Real Madrid. Not phased at all. Player that was on Juve's books at one stage. Fran Garcia back to Jude Bellingham. Xabi Alonso still on the edge of his technical area. Have to be fit to do the number of steps that he does during a game. Players have said that he could still lace up the boots if needed. Excellent in training. Here's Mbappe, back out to Vinicius Junior, left corner of the penalty area, onto his right foot, shot deflected, kept alive partially by Bellingham, who made the run into the box, but Juventus able to clear. But again, Real Madrid come at them. Tchouaméni, right foot shot, and tipped around the far post by Di Gregorio. It wasn't the fiercest of drives, but the goalkeeper had to react and get a touch to it. It's a corner.
Yes, because it goes through Koopmeiners' legs, and it's a really good save again from Di Gregorio, down to his right-hand side this time, fingertips, as it was going right in the corner from Tchouaméni.
Still, that second goal won't come. Di Gregorio has been outstanding. He's had to be. And it'll be the Croatian sensation, Luka Modric, to take it. In-swinger, right-footed. Here it comes. Towards the far post. Goalkeeper started to come, changed his mind, and Juventus able to clear. There's Alberto Costa moving across. Still haven't made those changes. Going to bring on Weston McKennie and Federico Gatti. Then they change their minds. Trent Alexander-Arnold to take this throw. Level at the edge of the penalty area. Man who made 354 appearances for Liverpool. He won the Premier League twice. Won the Champions League, the Club World Cup, the FA Cup, 2 League Cups, UEFA Super Cup. It's not a bad haul, is it? Here's Luka Modric, just to the left of the centre circle for Real Madrid, who are just tiptoeing towards the quarter-finals here. But the job's not yet done. Nice ball onto the chest of Trent Alexander-Arnold. Here come Real Madrid again with Luka Modric out to Fran Garcia, who's zoomed up and down that left touchline. Dovetailed pretty well with Vinicius Junior. Again, Modric, as Dean Ashton suggested he would, just controlling the tempo like a conductor, leading the orchestra. Now Fran Garcia inside left channel, rampaging forwards out to Vinicius Junior, left edge of the penalty area, back to Mbappe. Mbappe slides it through. Fran Garcia drives it across goal, but he drives it behind for a goal kick. You are listening to the FIFA Club World Cup live on Talksport 2, presented by DAZN. Sign up now at dazn.com to watch every game live and for free. Must have taken a flick on its way, that cross, because it's gone behind for a corner.
Yeah, it did. Just a very, very tiny one. Must have been heard by the referee rather than seen. But it's interesting, since Mbappe's come on, Vinicius Junior's come out to the left, wider, and he looks much better, looks more comfortable. You can tell that's the position he's played more often.
So one of the changes sees Manuel Locatelli make way in midfield for Weston McKennie. The other change is Federico Gatti coming on for Daniele Rugani. Rugani's not played a lot for Juventus, so that's understandable he hasn't made the 90 minutes. He only came into this game because Nicolo Savona was injured against Manchester City. He's done a decent job, Rugani, considering. Final 5 of normal time. Here comes the corner from the right for Real Madrid. It's over the heads of the Real Madrid players. Juventus clear, but not very far. Valverde inside left channel. Just plays it gently out to Vinicius Junior into Mbappe. It's all at walking pace again from Real Madrid. It's like a cat toying with a mouse at the moment. Juventus have to somehow rouse themselves and get up the pitch and win that ball back, because the clock's ticking and their Club World Cup campaign is fading at the moment. Here on Talksport 2. Now it's with Rudiger, just inside the Juventus half. Modric, he took a chance there, lost out, and then Gonzalez is brought down. And that's going to be a yellow card for Jude Bellingham. And that was wholly unnecessary, and for once Luka Modric caught out.
Well, look, the legs aren't going to be quite as sharp as they once were for Luka Modric, and he can't He cannot stand on the ball for too long. We know he's a great technician, but still.
Here's Thuram racing towards the edge of the penalty area, but just maybe took on one man too many. And here's Vinicius Junior rampaging forward again for Real Madrid, who lead 1-0. Vinicius Junior with the switch, too close to the goalkeeper Di Gregorio, who plucks the ball out of the air and gets his team on the move. McKennie had the ball played behind him, but managed to keep it. He did really well there, Weston McKennie. An ill-fated spell at Leeds earlier in his career. He was on the books of German club Schalke for a few years as well. It's actually surprised a few people as a Juventus player, I think. Although he made a bad mistake earlier in this Club World Cup when he and his US international teammate Tim Weah decided to take a pop at Italian food. They might not get back into Turin after that. It's fair to say the Italians take great pride in their culinary qualities. 88th minute. Real Madrid 1, Juventus 0. Real Madrid at the moment, Dean, in control of this.
Yeah, more looking to see it out with the maybe the opportunity to counter-attack than anything else. But still, while it's just that 1-0, Juventus will think, can we just create that one chance, that one moment to take this to extra time?
Weather has been warm and wet, but it hasn't really poured down in the way that we thought it might. And thankfully, the thunder and lightning has stayed away so far. Here come Real Madrid down the right-hand side. Valverde, tireless, absolutely tireless. And he wins the corner for his team in the 89th minute.
Yeah, he doesn't look tired. He's just a special athlete. And also the mentality to keep wanting to make those runs from midfield.
It's not a given, is it? You have to really push yourself to do it.
No, you do.
Simon Marciniak just dealing with a bit of pushing and shoving in the penalty area. Won't massively surprise you to learn that Antonio Rudiger's at the heart of it. Man who had a complete meltdown at the end of the Copa del Rey final. Threw a bag of ice towards the officials and was given a ban. Corner taken short. Here's Modric, right edge of the penalty area. And the cross is a really, really poor one. Just sliced behind. Rather tired cross, and we're going to see a change here. And even though Valverde is showing no signs of tiredness whatsoever, he's going to be withdrawn, and it'll be Dani Ceballos, who had a loan spell at Arsenal earlier in his career, who comes on for his 191st Real Madrid appearance. What a performance from Fede Valverde.
Yeah, superb. Captain's performance. I know he's given that now to Luka Modric, but really set the standard in this game for Real Madrid. But Xabi Alonso wants control now for the last few minutes.
Played a lot more in the season just gone than people expected, Dani Ceballos. He had 41 games. Partially that was down to the fact that Fede Valverde was deployed as a right-back after Dani Carvajal's serious injury. We're into the first of 5 additional minutes at the end of the contest, and Real Madrid on the cusp of reaching the quarter-finals. It's a hell of a side to draw that. Bayern, PSG, Dortmund still in there. Monterrey might have a say in the early hours of the morning. They've invested heavily in some established talent of Monterrey, including Sergio Ramos. Nice switch by Fran Garcia. Out to Trent Alexander-Arnold inside right channel. And he gives the ball away cheaply. I don't think he caught the ball correctly. But they've gone and won the ball back there. Real Madrid with Kylian Mbappe. Completely unnecessary flick from him, but he sees every flick and trick as necessary. Why not if you're as talented as him? One of those 5 additional minutes has already slid by, and Juventus can see those sands trickling through the hourglass that just haven't been able to rouse themselves in the last few minutes.
No, they just haven't been able to replicate that first half performance where they were outstanding, I thought, and created those chances that needed to be taken. Igor Tudor will realise that was their big opportunity in that first half, and then Real Madrid have been pretty comfortable and in control of the whole of this second half.
Real Madrid have won 9 of their last 13 games in all competitions going into this one, so they're in decent form. Looks as though they're going to maintain their unbeaten run at the Club World Cup. We'll have some tricky opponents to come, but they'll have learned from this, especially that first half. But it's not over yet. Here's Cambiaso down the right-hand side for Juventus. Maybe there's one final chance for them. McKennie across to Thuram. Been one of their better players. Plays it into the area. Headed away by Fran Garcia. Colomouani with a layoff that just evaded Cope Mainers, and the flag's up. And Juventus dismayed by that, because Real Madrid can take a few more precious seconds off the clock. They have a free kick.
Yeah, and there's nothing worse, is there, than just gifting the opposition the opportunity just to reset, slow things down. You've got to try and keep momentum towards the end of the game when you're chasing.
What do we make of Xabi Alonso's Real Madrid so far, 4 games in?
I think you can still see, especially with how dynamic he's being on the sidelines, he still wants more. There's still some understanding to be undertaken by the players, especially that change in system. But when you have top players, they tend to get to grips with it very quickly, and it wouldn't surprise me if we see them in the final.
They seem really enthused by what Xabi Alonso's telling them in training at the moment. Jude Bellingham really excited. That's a long ball towards Vinicius Junior, gets away from him, and on the bounce is taken by Di Gregorio. Yeah, Bellingham talked about the players being sponges and trying to soak it all up. Vinicius Junior's talked about how happy he is with Xabi Alonso's input. There's a lot of respect for Xabi Alonso. Of course, he had a glittering playing career. Played for Liverpool, played for Real Madrid, played for Bayern Munich. So successful with Spain at international level. And he can still lace up the boots and whack a 60-yard pass in training, and that helps, doesn't it?
It does. As long as you don't go too far.
Yeah, and say, I'm better than you lot.
Yeah, don't go full Glenn Hoddle where the players are literally...
I did wonder if that was the name that was on your lips. But he was terrific.
Yes.
Yeah, it is a fine line, actually, because coaches can get frustrated, can't they, and say, well, why can't you do what I could do? At the moment, there seems no indication that Xabi Alonso's done that. Here's Nicolas Gonzalez for Juventus. Maybe the last chance for them. Colomouani in the penalty area. This has got to go in, has it? And he tries to take on his man, goes to ground, and Simon Marciniak says no penalty. He was adamant there, the referee. Now Mbappe trying to get the better of Gatti. Gatti does well. Comes across and controls the ball. 20 seconds of stoppage time to go. Can Juventus have one final stab at this? Kostic with the cross, that's too close to Courtois, and that may well be that.
Yeah, it did feel as if Moani was looking to go down too easily as he tried to take on Rudiger. Rudiger just stood and saw where he was going, stepped across.
Real Madrid march on into the quarterfinals. They rode their luck at times in the first half, but they were largely imperious after the restart. And their rising star, Gonzalo Garcia, made the difference. His 3rd goal of this Club World Cup. That was the only goal of the game. A fine header it was too. Juventus huffed and puffed in the closing stages, but could not find a way back into the game. Kylian Mbappe got some minutes, his Club World Cup debut, and he was part of a winning team. Real Madrid 1, Juventus 0, and Xabi Alonso's men are through to the last 8. And Dean Ashton, in the end, probably the right result.
Yeah, not vintage, I don't think, from Real Madrid. They were tested in that first half, and they were lucky, actually, to go in level at the break. Juventus excellent. But then as the second half wore on, I think they just wore Juventus down. Great header from Gonzalo Garcia. The difference. And in the end, they cruised, I think, towards the end of the game, Real Madrid.
Trent Alexander-Arnold's setting up Garcia for the goal. And it's time now to pick our man of the match, all thanks to DAZN.
Man of the Match on Talksport 2, presented by DAZN. Watch every game of the FIFA Club World Cup live and for free on DAZN. Sign up now at DAZN.com.
Well, Dean Ashton has the unenviable task of finding a man of the match. There are several candidates for this.
Yes, there is. Di Gregorio has to have a mention. The amount of saves, quality saves he made. But I just thought Federico Valverde set a tempo, a tone, an attitude really to the whole game that I think was just the difference for Real Madrid. Maybe without him they may not have got over the line, but I just thought he upped things in the second half in particular and showed a real captain's performance.
Fede Valverde, a midfield machine. That was our man of the match with DAZN. Watch every game of the FIFA Club World Cup live and for free on DAZN. Sign up at DAZN.com.